biosynthesis of estrogen. So the first step is the cleavage of the side chain and followed by we get a DHEA, and that is a dihydro AB androsterone dione. Then followed by 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase. So the dehydrogenase will remove the hydrogen and oxygen in the carbon number 3. So that's a 3-beta hydroxy dehydrogenase. So we get an androsterone dione. So androsterone dione with the help of the 17-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, we get a testosterone. So both androsterone dione and testosterone converted to estrogen analogs with the help of that enzyme called aromatase. So aromatase is one of the cytochrome 450 enzyme which converts the ring A. The ring A is non-aromatic. The testosterone also ring A is non-aromatic. The estrogen, the ring A is aromatic ring, and estradiol also ring A is aromatic. So which converts the non-aromatic steroid. The androsterone dione is a non-aromatic. Testosterone also non-aromatic. The estrone and estradiol both are an aromatic compound. A ring A is aromatic ring. The first ring A is converted to aromatic with the enzyme called aromatase, which converts the testosterone to estrogens. So these are the four possible estrogen analogs in the human body. One is the estradiol, diol 2-hydroxyl group, and estrone as a ketone. This ONE is for ketone. So one ketone, other one is alcohol. So alcohol and ketone analog estrone. The estradiol is converted to estrone and estrone is converted to estradiol. This is a bifunctional enzyme, that is a estradiol dehydrogenase, which converts the diol to ketone, ketone to diol. The next one is a 16 alpha hydroxylase. So that is a carbon number 16. The 16th carbon alpha hydroxyl group is introduced. So this the reaction is catalyzed by 16 alpha hydroxylase. So we get a estradiol to estradiol. The estradiol, again there is a estradiol, same enzyme, estradiol dehydrogenase, which converts the ketone moiety. The 17th carbon alcohol is converted to ketone. So those are the possible 4 analogs in the human body. Estradiol is there, estrone and estradiol and hydroxyestrone. Now when you compare the potency for those compounds, so that's the binding of estrogen compounds in the estrogen receptor. When the compound binds to the estrogen receptor, the 17th hydroxyl group, so we get a hydrogen bonding interaction with histidine 524, and the 3-hydroxyl group, which makes hydrogen bonding interaction with arginine and glutamic acid. So this 2-hydroxy analog are more potent. Estradiol is 100% affinity. So when you have estrone is there is 1 hydroxy, other one is converted to keto. So when you change the hydroxy to keto, we don't get this hydrogen bonding interaction. This will be only possible with the hydroxyl group. So we lose 1 hydrogen bonding interaction. The potency is 60% only compared to estradiol. Estrone sulfate less than 1% potency compared to estradiol. Estradiol is the additional hydroxyl group at carbon number 16. So 3-hydroxy analog, and the potency is 14 compared to estradiol. So based on the binding affinity, we can say estradiol is more potent than estrone. Then estrone is more potent than estradiol. Estradiol is more potent than estrone sulfate. So metabolism for estrogen type compounds. Most possible one is undergo for the phase 2 metabolism. Phase 2 metabolism with gluconide conjugation and sulfate conjugation. And those are water soluble, and that's the one excreted, gluconide and sulfate. But particularly the sulfate conjugates. So those undergoes for the enterohepatic recycling. The sulfate conjugate is excreted in intestine, then the sulfate is cleaved. Again, that estrogen is reabsorbed. So that is the process for enterohepatic recycling. 50% of the exogenous dose undergoes for the first pass metabolism. So we lose the activity for 50% compound. And other possible hydroxylation, it is undergo for a 2,4-hydroxylase enzyme, which introduce a carbon number 2. That's the carbon number 2, which introduce the hydroxyl group. Or carbon number 4, also we get a hydroxyl group. So those are the possible. When you introduce, this is a phenolic. Aromatic ring, the hydroxyl is a phenolic. When you introduce additional hydroxyl group to ortho, that is a catechol. It's a catechol type estrogen. Or when you introduce the hydroxyl group at 4th carbon, this is the carbon number 2 and carbon number 4. The 4th carbon also we get a catechol estrogens. These two are catechol type estrogens, and there is a possible metabolism for catechol type compound, catechol O-methyl transferase, that introduces the methyl group to the ester bond. So that is a possible, the methoxy analogs. So catechol estrogens that also binds with the estrogen receptors, and those are weak compounds. Less potency compared to the parent compound. So the major one, phase 2 metabolism, gluconide conjugates, only the sulfate conjugates undergo for the enterohepatic recycling process. Whenever you give external dose and 50% of the drugs undergoes for the first pass metabolism, 2,4-hydroxylase, that's the one we get a catechol estrogens, and followed by metabolism with catechol O-methyl transferase, we get a methoxy analogs. Those are weak estrogenic activity. So the first compound that this category is the estradiol. So estradiol, that's the most potent analog compared to estradiol and estrone. So the estradiol is given parenterally, not suitable for oral. The reason is not stable compound because that 17th hydroxyl is there. So it's not recommended oral. The reason is this hydroxyl group easily converted to ketone makes the compound less active. To make it as a orally active estrogen, we need to introduce that alkyl, ethinyl. So C triple bond CH. So the ethinyl group is introduced, that's the inert group. So when you introduce the ethinyl group to carbon number 17 alpha stereochemistry ethinyl group, that prevents the oxidation of estradiol to estrone. So that makes the compound is orally active. So ethinyl estradiol is suitable for oral tablet. Estradiol is not suitable for oral because that 17 hydroxy is converted to 17 keto, makes the compound is less active. So that's why we made the ethinyl estradiol. Ethinyl estradiol, the ethinyl group is introduced to prevent the metabolic oxidation of the 17 hydroxyl group to hydroxy to ketone conversion is inhibited. The alkylation of the 17, that is a inert compound, the ethinyl group. Then when you introduce the ethinyl group to the estradiol, the compound is several hundred-fold more active compared to estradiol. The potency increases several hundred-fold. The bioavailability for ethinyl estradiol is 40%. Compound undergoes for the enterohepatic recycling and also undergoes for the first fast metabolism. And is not recommended, ethinyl estradiol is not recommended in combination with antibacterial agents. Why is not recommended for combination with antibacterial agents? Ethinyl estradiol is one of the common ingredient for most of the oral contraceptives. Okay, why they are not recommending for antibacterial agents?
Reduce the absorption?
Huh?
The absorption?
Not absorption?
Because galactic receptor, those galactic receptors.
No.
Interference with metabolism?
More exactly, it's not a common term you are using. See, both are it's available over the counter. You can get it oral contraceptive without prescription, and the antibiotics, some of them are available over the counter. So if you have a combination of these two, which one is inactive? Which one you have a problem? Is it antibacterial or oral contraceptive? Which one has a problem?
Antibiotic.
So what is enterohepatic circulation? If you know that, then you can explain why we should not combine these two. What is enterohepatic circulation? Enterohepatic? So, enterohepatic circulation means if you have a ethinyl estradiol, it goes for the sulfate conjugation. That is metabolism. So, what is that sulfate conjugation? Theoretically, it's inactive compound. It's not active. The conjugates are excreted to intestine. Then sulfate will be cleaved. You get ethinyl estradiol back. Then it will be reabsorbed. Right? Then reabsorbed, then it will go for, again you get a pharmacological effect, and then again sulfate conjugation, it will be excreted to intestine again. So the dose is adjusted based on the enterohepatic recirculation. What will happen? That the cleavage of, when the sulfate conjugate in the intestinal tract, the cleavage is by the bacteria, intestinal bacteria. So what will happen if you take an antibacterial agent together? You kill the intestinal bacteria, there is no enterohepatic recirculation. No? Clear or no? See, the normal, if you don't have antibacterial, leave it. In the normal process, the ethinyl estradiol, you get a pharmacological, after absorption, you get a pharmacological activity. Then it goes for the phase 2 metabolism, sulfate conjugation. After sulfate conjugation, this compound is inactive. The inactive compound is excreted to the intestine. Intestine, you have a bacteria. The intestinal bacteria will hydrolyze the sulfate. We get a parent compound again, ethinyl estradiol. The ethinyl estradiol is again absorbed. You get again pharmacological activity. The dose interval is adjusted based on the enterohepatic circulation. Assume that you are going to reabsorb, you get a compound back, the dose is adjusted. But if you give antibacterial, you kill the bacteria, there is no sulfate cleavage, there is no recycling, and then you have to adjust the dose. If you take a normal dose, you don't get that interval activity, you know. So that's why it's not recommended together. So mestranol is the same compound. The ethinyl estradiol. This is not a prodrug, it's an active drug. So mestranol, they introduce the methyl group to the one of the hydroxy group. So you get the methyl analog of ethinyl estradiol. So the mestranol is not an active compound, it's a prodrug. So once it gets absorbed, the methyl group is cleaved. You get ethinyl estradiol is a parent compound. So ethinyl estradiol is the active compound, mestranol is the prodrug. So it's a semi-synthetic estrogen, 3-O-methyl ether of ethinyl estradiol. It's a prodrug followed by oral administration. That methoxy is cleaved, we get a ethinyl estradiol, that is the active compound. Other type of estrogens, what we have that estrogen esters. So ethynyl estradiol with ester products. So we have that ethynyl is the estradiol valerate, the 17 hydroxyl is attached to the valeric acid, or the cypionate, cyclopentane propionate, or is attached with propionate. Only two. There is one more is there. Yeah, only two. Okay, cypionate, valerate, those are the esters. So those esters are called the fatty acid esters, that lipophilic esters. So when you have a lipophilic esters, the injection is called lipo preparation. So when you have one injection, the compound ester is slowly cleaved and release the estradiol for the long duration of time. So you get like one injection, you get activity for 14 to 28 days. So those are the esters. The 17th hydroxyl group attached with valerate, that is estradiol 17 beta valerate, or the 17 hydroxyl group attached with estradiol cyclopentane pentenyl propionate, so that is a cypionate. So when you have attached these two compounds, and those injections, after the injection, intramuscular injection, the compound is slowly releasing from the injection site. So one injection is suitable for 14 to 28 days, and the valerate is suitable for 14 to 21 days. So we have, what are the type of estrogen analogs we have? This is parenteral estrogen only, not for tablet, estradiol, right? This is not a longer duration of action, this is just 1 day, okay? And this two, estradiol, ethynyl estradiol, mestranol, those two are possible, we can give a tablet. And this is not a tablet, these two are tablets. And this is not a prodrug, active drug. And mestranol is a prodrug of ethynyl estradiol. And the next analogs, so these analogs only intramuscular injection, okay, not IV, not a tablet, only it should be given IM. So those are all are prodrug, those ester drugs are prodrug and not suitable for oral. The compound is slowly hydrolyzed and releasing from the injection site, and suitable for one injection is suitable for 14 to 21 or 28 days. For structure activity relationship, that 3-hydroxyl group, that is estrogen, that is very important for activity. You know that this group is important for making hydrogen bond interaction with estrogen receptor. And the 17th carbon, beta stereochemistry. The stereochemistry also important. Beta stereochemistry hydroxyl group, that is important for activity. This two makes hydrogen bonding interaction with estrogen receptors. So these two hydroxyl groups are important. So the distance between these two hydroxyl groups, the distance is 10.3 to 12.1 Armstrong distance. The distance is important to make the right hydrogen bonding interaction. And any substitution at carbon number 1 makes the compound is less active. And substitution carbon number 6, carbon number 7 and carbon number 11, those all are reduce the activity. Those substitutions are not recommended. And removal of 3 or 17, removal of this hydroxyl, the compound become inactive. Or epimerization, here there is no stereochemistry, here beta, if you change the beta to alpha, that is epimerization. So beta to alpha, the compound is less active. And unsaturation ring, the ring unsaturation of the ring B, if you introduce a double bond here or double bond here, the unsaturation makes the compound increase the potency. So substitution 1 reduce the activity, substitution 6, 7, 11 less active, changing the stereochemistry less active, and these two hydroxyls are important. The distance is 10.3 to 12.1, and only here if you add a double bond, the compound is increase the potency. So any double bond and adding the increases the potency. So next one is the aromatase inhibitors. So the aromatase one we have seen the beginning. So those are the aromatase. Okay. The biosynthetic process, the androstenedione and testosterone. Androstenedione is converted to estrone and testosterone is converted to estradiol with the enzyme called aromatase. So the aromatase enzyme, nothing but we have only one double bond here. If you add two more double bond, it introduces two double bonds additionally, makes the compound is A ring is aromatic. Similarly, it introduces one double bond here and one more double bond here, makes the ring A aromatic. So that's the function for aromatase. It's a type of reduction reaction. The reaction is aromatase is a type of a cytochrome 450 enzyme. It's a cytochrome 90. Okay, the enzyme is another name is called cytochrome 90. So this is important for conversion of testosterone to estradiol, androstenedione to estrone. The enzyme is really responsible. So inhibition of aromatase enzyme. So we inhibit the estrogen formations. There are two types of aromatase inhibitor. One is a steroid type compound and non-steroidal. So the steroid type compound, there are two compounds of the steroid types. The 10 beta propionyl androstenedione and 7 alpha aminophenyl and thioandrostenedione. So those two are steroidal type aromatase inhibitors. This carbon number 10 beta propionyl moiety, that makes the compound is irreversible inhibitor, and carbon number 7 alpha substitution, the thio substitution, that helps for the enhance the potency for the compound. A non-steroidal type compound, we have two compounds. Remember that this we have any triazole 5-member ring with 3 nitrogen atoms. Triazole compounds are aromatase type inhibitors. So triazole nitrogens are important to make interaction with the heme in the cytochrome 19. Cytochrome 19 is nothing but that's the aromatase enzyme. So we have four compounds. Two are a steroidal type compound, steroidal analogs, that's inhibit the aromatase enzyme, and the non-steroidal, the triazole moiety is important for activity for non-steroidal compounds. Metabolism of progesterone. So the very common metabolism is phase 2, that is a glucuronide and sulfate conjugation. So other possible metabolic reaction for progesterone, the 6-alpha hydroxylation. So 6-alpha hydroxylation, that alpha stereochemistry 6 hydroxylation, that is a phase 1 metabolic reaction. Or the 20, carbon number 20, keto to hydroxyl conversion. That alcohol, that's a second possible metabolic reaction. Here also keto to alcohol conversion. And additionally, there is one more possible metabolic reaction is removal of this double bond. This gets saturated, there is no double bond. So those are the possible metabolic reaction. One is glucuronide and sulfate conjugation, or it introduces hydroxyl at carbon number 6, and carbon number 20 is keto is converted to alcohol, and carbon number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double bond is reduced. We get the saturated compound. Those analogs are there is no these metabolites have no significant prostrogenic activity. So these are inactive compounds after phase 1 metabolism. For structure activity relationship, The progestins, those are the synthetic compound progestins. We have a two category, the androgens and the brignans. The androgens are 17, 18, 19 carbon analogues. The brignans are 21 carbon analogues. So that's the difference. So this one is a 19 carbon analogues and this one is a 21 carbon analogues. In the 17th substitution, if you have ethynyl, methyl, ethyl, that provides oral bioavailability for those compounds. So 17th substitution, ethynyl, methyl, ethyl substitutions are good. Example, so that is the ethynyl substitution. It's good for oral. Ethynyl, this is ethynyl, and here is ethynyl, and that's also ethynyl substitution. And methyl substitution also good for activity and makes the compound is stable for the metabolism, good for oral activity. Ethistone is the first androgen found in the effective, and that's 1/3 of activity when the compound is given subcutaneous, but the compound has a 15-fold more activity when it given orally. So the compound is have more activity orally than compared to subcutaneous. Removal of methyl group at carbon number 19 methyl group removal, that makes the compound is 5 to 10-fold more active. That's a 19 methyl. That's the 19th methyl. So when you remove the 19th methyl, the compound is 5 to 10-fold more active. Example for the 19 methyl. Here there is a 19 methyl. So there is no 19 methyl. So ethistone, norethistone, nor means the methyl is missing, norethistone, and nor, here also the methyl is removed. So the 19 methyl is absent, here also 19 methyl absent. So that makes the compound is 5 to 10-fold more active, 19 methyl absent. Here also 19 methyl is absent. They remove the 19 methyl here, here also 19 methyl is absent. Here there is no 19 methyl, here there is no 19 methyl. So the synthetic analogues, they remove the 19 methyl. When you remove the 19 methyl, the compound is 5 to 10-fold more active. So when you have a chlorine, carbon number 21, chlorine that prevents the metabolism, that's good for longer duration of action. So that's a 21 carbon. If you add a chlorine here, and that prevents the oxidation of the terminal methyl, that makes the compound is slow down the phase 1 metabolism. That's suitable for the longer duration of action. Unsaturation ring B and C. So that is a similar concept in the estrogen. So when you have a double bond at ring B and C, that enhance the activity, process-in activity. So B and C, additional double bond makes the compound is more potent. Example, yeah, here we have a B and C, B ring, there is additional double bond, and here we have a B ring, additional double bond, and here we have B additional double bond, that makes the compound is more potent.
For estrogen was reverse.
Estrogen also, when you have a ring B, an additional double bond, the compound is more potent. So the next one, introduction of halogen or methyl at carbon number 6 alpha or 7 alpha position, increase the hormonal activity. 6 and 7, if you have halogen or methyl, that increases the potency. So 6, carbon number 6, this is 6, carbon number 6 methyl, and carbon number 6 methyl, carbon number 6, there is a methyl. So those methyls helps for the potency, increase in the potency. Acetylation of a 17 beta hydroxyl group, that increase the duration of action. So the beta hydroxyl group, when you acetylate, and that is it prevents the conversion of the alcohol to ketone. So that's the reason that increase the potency. So 17 beta, this is acetylation that increase the duration of activity. And this is also acetyl, increase the duration of activity. That's the beta. Only these two are beta acetylation, one, and this is also the beta acetylation, the second one. And this is the alpha acetylation. It's not that category, it's a different one. So these two are alpha acetylation, not a beta. So beta acetylation, this one is beta acetylation, and this one is beta acetylation. So beta acetylation increases the duration of activity for those analogs, progesterone analogs. Next one is testosterone, orally ineffective. So it's not recommended for oral. The reason is it goes for the extensive systemic phosphorus metabolism. So only suitable for IM to bypass the phosphorus metabolism. And testosterone esters are available commercially. So those are the depot formulation because for the longer duration of action. We have three types of ester: propionate, enanthate, and cypionate. So three esters are there. So the one with this is a small carbon ester. Propionate is a small carbon ester. Enanthate we have more carbon. So that is considered as a bulky esters. Okay. So the bulky esters, the duration of activity is 2 to 4 weeks. That is enanthate and cypionate. We get activity for 2 to 4 weeks. The shorter ester, that is a propionate, only propionate, we get activity for 1 to 2 weeks. So all are prodrugs. The ester analogs are prodrugs. So the ester moiety is attached to carbon number 17. Hydroxyl is attached with either propionate and enanthate and cyclopentenyl propionate, that is a cypionate. So those all are prodrugs and suitable for only IM injection, not for IV or oral, only IM. And those are the depot formulation. So the compound is slowly hydrolyzed from the injection site. When you have a bulky ester, suitable for 2 to 4 weeks. When you have a shorter ester, suitable for 1 to 2 weeks activity. Testosterone metabolism, the most common metabolic reaction is the glucuronide. See, at the end of the process, the glucuronide conjugation. So starts with testosterone, removal of double bond, we get a dihydrogenase and followed by glucuronide conjugation, or that beta keto is converted to hydroxyl and followed by glucuronide conjugation, or the 17 hydroxyl is converted to keto and 3 keto is converted to hydroxyl followed by glucuronide conjugation, or this 17 hydroxyl is converted to keto and 3 keto is converted to hydroxyl and followed by glucuronide conjugation. So the end process is glucuronide, 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 glucuronide. So the end process is we get a glucuronide conjugation for testosterone. The other one is the biosynthetic process. Testosterone is converted to estradiol by that aromatase, that is the cytochrome 19. So those the testosterone analogs. What we have the regular one. Those are only for injection, IM injection, and the prodrugs are only for IM injection. This is not suitable for oral. So we have for oral we have a synthetic analogs. Those are the synthetic analogs suitable for oral. So the chemically the structure is modified to avoid the phosphorus metabolism. So the same concept, estradiol, ethinyl estradiol, we have a same concept. When you introduce a methyl group, you prevent the oxidation of this hydroxyl and that makes the compound is orally active. See, the same concept we use for all three compounds. So starting from estrogen, so estradiol is not good for oral. That's the reason we made that ethinyl group at 17th carbon. So ethinyl group 17th carbon makes the compound is orally active, or suitable for oral, because of we want to stop the conversion of this hydroxy to keto. That is the reason we introduce the inert functional group, that is the ethinyl. Same concept we apply for progesterone. So all progesterone analogs we introduce the ethinyl. That makes the compound is orally active. Ethinyl, or methyl. Methyl also suitable. Instead of ethinyl, we can use the methyl. So this makes the compound is orally active. Same concept for testosterone. Makes the compound is orally active. We introduce the methyl. So that makes the compound is orally active. So to prevent the oxidation of this hydroxy to ketone. So 17 alpha alkyl, that alkyl is in alpha stereochemistry, this hydroxy is in beta stereochemistry, because this beta stereochemistry is important for hydrogen bonding. So alkyl is always ethinyl or alkyl always in the alpha stereochemistry. So that makes a compound is reduce the hepatic metabolism, so increase the oral bioavailability for the compound, and more effective when given a sublingual, the first one. And the next one is the fluoxymestrone. Flux is, we have additionally the fluorine is there, fluorine attached. The remaining is same, almost same. Let's say we have hydroxy and the methyl. This hydroxy is not important, the methyl is important. So the methyl, 2-methyl analog, suitable for oral. And the compound is 20 times more active for anabolic and 10 times more active for androgenic activity. Bioavailability is 80%, the previous one bioavailability is 70%. So that's the last one for testosterone. Remember that testosterone, there is a 2 chemically modified. So whenever you see the structure with methyl group, suitable for oral. And other testosterone analogs, what we have? Those propionate, enanthate, cypionate, those are prodrugs. So the last two, these two are not a prodrug. Synthetic analog, suitable for oral tablet. Those are prodrugs and suitable for only IM, not for IV or tablet, only IM. And those are the progesterone analog. And remember that this group is suitable for oral, prevent the metabolic oxidation. That when you have acetyl, those are good for long duration of action. Then addition of the methyl group increases the potency. That methyl group increases the potency. And then the additional double bond increases the potency, this one. And then addition of double bond increases the potency, this one. Being addition of double bond. And that's all, that's a key point for progesterone. Estrogen, remember that estrogen, aromatase inhibitor, whenever you see the triazoles, those are aromatase inhibitor, non-steroidal analog. And the steroidal analog, aromatase inhibitor, remember when you have the cyclopropyl, propionyl, right? Propionyl or thioaminobenzene, that's the aromatase inhibitors, analogs. Then remember the estrogen, we have two compounds, estrogen, that ethinyl estradiol, remember this is the one to prevent the oxidation of the hydroxyl group, active compound, suitable for oral. Mestranol is the methoxy analog, that's a prodrug of ethinyl estradiol. And those esters, the fatty esters, the lipophilic esters, those are the depot formulations suitable for where longer duration of action, activity for 14 days to 28 days. So we have 13 questions, 8 questions from today's lecture and 5 from thyroid, the last week one, okay? 5 from thyroid, 8 from today, total 13. So what is the reaction? This reaction, you have the 2 iodine, and here only 1 iodine is removed. When you have 4 iodine, that's a prohormone, inactive hormone, right? When you remove one of the iodine from the outer ring, not the inner one, outer ring, this is called outer ring, this is the inner ring. When you remove one of the ring from outer ring, that's the active hormone. This is T3 is active, T4 is the prohormone. What is the one, which one is catalyzed this reaction?
I'll take 2 and 3. Or 1 and 2, okay.
1 and 2? 2 is right. I think the type 3 will remove the inner ring, this iodine. Type 1 and type 2 remove the outer ring iodine. So the answer is 2 and 3. 2 and 3, type 1 and type 2, which removes the outer ring, that is this iodine. And type 3 removes this iodine, not the outer ring. So conversion of prohormone to active hormone, the reaction is catalyzed by type 1 and type 2 deiodinase. L-thyroxine is active hormone, is it right? No, it's a prohormone. It's a weak base, right? No. Why is a weak base? Amphoteric. So weak base is not right. It has a 2 chiral center. No. 1 chiral center. It's active hormone. No. It's not active. It's a prohormone. It's a weak acid. No. It's amphoteric. It has 1 chiral center.
Yes.
So E is right. And negatively charged at the physiological pH, that is right, because this is not ionized, this will be ionized on the physiological pH. So the negatively charged is right, thyroxine is negatively charged physiologically. And H, amphoteric,
Yes.
Yes.
it's a prohormone,
Yes.
right? It has 1 chiral center and is amphoteric and prohormone and negatively charged on the rate of physiological pH. What is this? The peptide. It's a tripeptide. It's a glutamic acid, histidine, and this is a proline. Pyroglutamide, histidine, proline. What is this? This is not a L-thyroxine. No. The one we have seen, that is L-thyroxine. Leothyroxine is when you remove 1 iodine, that is a leothyroxine. So this is not the one. And propyl thiouracil, no, that is not a propyl thiouracil. So tell me, is it TSH or TRH? TRH. So TRH chemically is a tripeptide, right? So remember that is a TRH, right? It's a prohormone. This is a prohormone.
Yes.
Prohormone 4 iodines. 3 iodines are active hormone. 1, 2, 3. 3 is active. If you have 4 is prohormone. Right?
So,
It's amphoteric, right?
and one
And A. What about A?
and one chiral center.
Active. And it has one chiral center D-isomer. No. It's synthesized from tyrosine. L-tyrosine. Then L-tyrosine, why? How can it change to D? No. It's natural one always L-isomer. Natural amino acid. So not a D-isomer.
2 is
Right. And this is the one, 2 isomers. Which one has a longer half-life? Which one has a longer half-life?
T4.
T4, that is the prohormone has a longer half-life. Whenever needed, the prohormone is converted to T4 is converted to T3, that is for shorter duration of action. That the one storage is converted to the longer duration, right? T4 is storage, not active, and T3 is active one. Which one is a prohormone? Prohormone 4 iodine.
3.
3 only. Which one is active one?
1 and 2.
Ah, 2 only. One, this iodine, inside we need 2 iodine. Outside only we need 1 iodine, right?
Okay.
So prohormone, that 4 iodine, yeah. Methimazole.
Which function
You have a handout?
B.
Huh?
B.
B. Okay. Why it is 5 prime? Why not 5? The outside ring, removal of iodine from outside ring. See, when you have this is a prohormone. When you want to make it active, you have to remove one of the iodine. When you remove here, that is 5. When you go next ring, that is 5 prime. Whatever next ring. So we need to remove 5 prime iodine, not a 5 iodine, right? So inhibit 5 prime deiodinase enzyme. That is the mechanism for methimazole. Propyl thiouracil. TPO, thyroperoxidase enzyme inhibitor. Yeah, that we have seen. Which one is that?
Can you go back?
This one? Which one is active?
is 2 and
3.
No, 3.
3 only.
Yeah.
3 on.
What is this? 4 iodine. 4 iodine, what is the name?
4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
TL.
Huh? B. L-thyroxine is a 4 iodine. The 3 iodine is liothyronine, right? And TRH is a peptide. Glutamide, histidine, proline peptide, right? And propyl thiouracil, you know that we have seen that. What happened? So this from thyroid is 4. Thyroid you have 5%, 8 from steroid, right?
Yes. So A is correct.
All are true except
Except
Right.
E. Yeah.
except E. So is the aromatase required for the estrogen biosynthesis? That's right. And high potency when administered parenterally. Okay, when you chemically modified with ethinyl or methyl, that is a oral. Otherwise, it is parenteral administration. And I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. There is one more answer is there. This is not a chiral. There is a chiral in it. Yeah, this is also right. Yeah, it's a chiral. One is chiral center. This is also chiral. So it's not a chiral. Chiral compound. Two right answers. Two wrong answers are there. So C Raganalla, and so C and E is not right. C also not right.
Now, when you go back to that, with regards to that polymer,
A.
what's the change in say, okay, instead of a chiral center,
Yeah.
how many chiral centers does it have?
Here we have more. This is chiral, this is chiral, this is chiral, this is chiral, this is chiral. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not a chiral compound. This is right if you have a chiral compound. That is right. So
It's an oxidation of C17. B is
what is that?
is an
I told you
oxidation.
several times today. Yeah, same point. Which one?
B.
B. How many agree with B? B is the right answer. So the ethinyl or methyl group they introduced to the 17th carbon to prevent the oxidation of the hydroxyl to ketone. When you have a hydroxy to ketone, you don't get a hydrogen bonding interaction with the estrogen receptor because this hydrogen is needed for the hydrogen bonding interaction. So that's the reason this hydrogen bonding interaction makes the compound is more potent. So that's the reason we have this ethinyl group to prevent the metabolic oxidation, and that makes the compound is suitable for oral tablet.
B is correct.
B is correct. Okay. D is right.
B is correct.
B and D is right. Yeah.
H.
What happened?
H is correct. H.
Yeah, H is right. Extensive under enterohepatic recycling. I or J?
I think is R.
I or J? Eh?
Either.
Ether. I. It's not ester.
I is correct.
Ether. It's a ether. If you have a, see when you add a methyl, it says here is methyl. Methyl O and carbon. This is ether, not ester. So I is right.
Estradiol, estron, and estradiol. Estradiol. E.
E. E. Estradiol is more active than histone. Histone is more active than estradiol because this 2-hydroxyl group is important activity. Histone is 1-hydroxy, one is ketone, then you don't get one hydrogen bonding interaction. Estradiol, we have a 2-hydroxy, we have additional hydroxy, and but that is not good for the hydrogen bonding interaction. There is a disturbance, that's why we lose the activity. Who has signed it? Who has signed it? Yeah.
A F
A is right. It's a synthetic testosterone. That is right.
F is correct.
Why it is? This is not a synthetic testosterone. No.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah. It's aromatase inhibitor. So E is right.
But aromatase has a
Is a non-steroidal. You have a right.
okay.
So you have a
Okay.
steroidal 2 compounds.
okay.
Remember the sulfur. I told you the sulfur and amino is
Uh-huh.
that's for aromatase inhibitor.
So D is correct.
D is right.
And
If D is right, F also same. Aromatase is nothing but cytochrome 19. Right. So F also right.
G
G is right. It's a steroid.
testosterone. No, H is not.
So H is right. That is aromatase activity. That's all. So E, F, G, H.
This is triazole analog. Aromatase
Aromatase. So E is right. F is right.
Steroid analog.
C is right.
Conversion of testosterone.
Yes.
H.
H, F, E, C.
C.
Right?
A is not.
Yeah, which one? Is it testosterone or estrogen or progesterone? Which one?
Is
C.
C.
It's a progesterone analog, progestin analog, synthetic progestin.
Yes. And
F, C, F,
F or H?
F, and one more.
Is brother.
Not a
Not
protein.
a brother.
G.
Oh, it's right.
Hmm? C is right. F is there. Right? C and F.
C and F.
And
B.
Acetylation enhances the progesterone activity. 17 beta acetylation. Acetylation enhances or increase the duration. Increase the duration.
Increase the duration.
So it's a synthetic progesterone and it's a steroid compound. Remember that acetylation, beta acetylation, increase the duration of activity, not the potency.
B.
Okay, B is right.
C.
C is right.
F.
Yes, is right.
And
G
G.
is right.
G
One more.
and H.
H also right. Not a cyclone. F is not right because propionate is 1 to 3 weeks. Cypionate and enantiate both are 2 to 4 weeks.
Oh.
1 to 2 weeks is propionate, not a cypionate.
So let's say, okay. Is a synthetic and testosterone. A is correct. Is estrogen.
A is right.
A is inhibit the conversion of the solution.
F is orally active, right? G is steroid compound, right?
Orally steroid analogue. G.
Steroid, right? Yeah. G is right. Steroid. Steroid, orally active. It's a synthetic testosterone. So A,
H.
G, F. One more.
H.
H. The methyl group.
Yeah.
So A, F, G, and H. That's the last one. First I can see.
Thank you.
Thank you.